There we go. We are live here at the Texas Production Expo. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the host of StreamTek, and we have this special episode where we are here live at the Dallas Producers Association Texas Production Expo. It is quite a mouthful.
It's the Texas Production Expo, brought to you by the Dallas Producers Association. Not that much less of a mouthful.
So, if you're watching us on the Dallas Producers YouTube page or Facebook page or anywhere else, you can find all kinds of video information at the StreamTek YouTube page. There it is, at the StreamTek, no, that's the website, the other one. Stream Technology on YouTube. And if you're looking for information about how to contact us, then you can go to the webpage. Right? It's magic. StreamTek.us. If I had a TriCaster, I could just use hotspots and everything. And then also, if we're looking for information on getting involved in the Dallas Producers Association, you can find them at dallasproducers.org. I should go this way now. So with me today from the Dallas Producers Association is the Vice President of the Dallas Producers, that is Joshua Wethington.
Yes, Wethington. How long have we known each other?
Dude, I don't say your last name like ever.
That's true. From now on, it's Vice President Wethington. That's how you need to address me.
Okay, Mr. Vice President, who do we have with us here today?
We have Bob Roos from TM Television, longtime supporter of the Texas Production Expo and one of our larger integrators in the DFW area. You want to tell the audience what exactly TM does? You can so much.
Yes, well, thanks, Mr. Vice President, excuse me.
Mr. Vice President Wethington.
Yeah, sir.
Commercial break.
There you go. Are we good?
Yeah. Are we good?
Good.
Yeah. And right there.
Yeah, we specialize in building an airplane while we're flying it, as you can see from going on here.
Yes, that's the nature of live video.
Yeah. So, yes, TM Television has been a sponsor of the the Texas Production Expo since its inception.
Yeah. Which was what year?
I don't know, but it was
nobody knows. It's a mystery.
More than 15 years ago.
More than 15, but less than 20. Yes. So I'm going to say our 20th anniversary is 2028. I'm just calling it.
Okay.
The Vice President has spoken.
Works for me.
Yes, longtime integrator of that.
So yeah, we are a Dallas-based integration company. We started in 1992.
Okay, wow.
So we've been, we started in post-production, and then we got into cameras.
Okay.
And everyone at TM has worked in production before, so we kind of understand the constraints and what people are up against. So we treat video as if it's a mission-critical business, which it is for those of us who are in the industry.
Yeah. And you guys work with houses of worship,
we do.
Educational facilities, brands and companies that are willing to build their own studios, and you also work with like the Fox and other like television stations, and you help them with everything from.
We have done everything from very small, independent churches all the way. I mean, we've worked with Jimmy Swaggart Ministries and John Hagee Ministries, the big folks. Corporations, small corporations. We've been into a place where we're just in like a little one-person studio, all the way up to the Texas Capitol, which is a very large, 64 input switcher. Broadcast. We've done build-outs of ABC affiliates and the locals here. So yeah, we kind of cover everything.
And you're nationwide, correct?
We primarily are in the TOLA region, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas, but we have done projects all across.
The TOLA region, I need to remember that one. That's the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. TOLA.
Exactly.
I like it. Everybody needs another acronym in their life.
Yep.
Yeah, Texarkana.
And that's the Arklatex.
So I feel like for everybody, the last few years has just been a roller coaster. And like you said, video is mission critical now for so many organizations, regardless if they're a nonprofit, a house of worship, an education facility, all of that. Where do you really see the industry going from you guys working as an integrator, and kind of like, where's everybody going? I said, is it live streaming like we're doing right now? Is it internal meetings? Like, what are you guys seeing?
meetings and streaming like this are becoming paramount.
Yeah.
You get everybody now has a YouTube channel, or not everybody, or everybody wants one.
Yeah.
They want to get their word out. Executives want to communicate with their teams. And even though everyone is trying to get the people back into the office, there's still a lot of people working remotely.
Yeah.
And the thing that we found is people are just becoming dissatisfied with the quality of some of these Zooms and WebExes, and that's where we come in, where we build a streaming infrastructure built on broadcast technology to improve the quality, to get people looking better. And if you have a CEO who's regularly on CNN or Bloomberg, they want the message that they send out to their troops or employees to be the same, that same quality, same look, same feel.
What's the most high-end Zoom call you guys have ever worked on? Because now it's like what started as a $40 service is now has entire production studios behind it, but they're still going out live to Zoom. So
Yep. So yeah, we built some very large, multi-million-dollar facilities that have are meant to replace Zoom.
Yeah.
So.
And, you guys have, like we said before, you guys have been a long-time supporter of the Texas Production Expo for 15 plus years. Kind of, what's the value for you guys coming and being a part of a local regional conference show like this?
Well, it's great. As we mentioned, it's the TOLA region. We send out information and invitations to all of our client base because we've been the title sponsor for 2 years now, and we want, this show is important for us. I mean, everyone can't go to Las Vegas to see NAB. The Texas Association of Broadcasters in Austin, it's not as walk-in friendly as this show is. So we need a show here that people can feel comfortable walking into, no matter whether they're an independent production company or, a corporation that has 20 employees or 30 employees. And we need to educate people, let them interact with us, and you need to tell your story. You need to be able to tell how we can work with them, how we come in and we design from the ground up, what we need to do to interface with people, and get the information that we need from them to build something that's on target that meets their requirements. And that's the important thing, because if somebody has a vision, you want to be able to carry out that vision for the person.
In a show like this, I mean, you guys really focus on working with the end user, the end client, in solving their problem, their video problem, and then you can go over to Sony or Panasonic or Telestream or Marshall or Ross, all these other vendors here, and say, this is what we would recommend for here. Here's a great cloud storage solution. So just the ability to walk over and kind of have those conversations isn't only good for you guys in your service, but also all the vendors that you guys work with.
Exactly. Yeah, because many times I've been working on a project with someone that would have 6 or 7 of the vendors here at the show. And I'll be able to say, okay, remember we had that web call with so-and-so. Let me bring you over and introduce you to them in person. And they can explain all the nuances that you just couldn't get on a Zoom call. In
that one-on-one in-person, kind of you build that personal connection of somebody that, for the next 3, 6, or even like next 3 years, you're going to be working with. So not only do you guys integrate and build it, you also support it after the build. So, you're building real lifelong partnerships with them.
Exactly. That's one of the things we take into consideration when we design something is, yes, I have service technicians, but I don't want my service technicians have to go out and repair stuff all the time. So we try to build things that are going to last, and then that leaves us with a good impression of the customer. So they want to come back to us because they know if they get something from us, it's going to be built correctly, it's going to work, and it's going to last.
Okay. Oh, that's very cool. And then, like we were talking about, your core service is kind of working and solving problems, and you guys design. Do you want to kind of talk about that process a little bit? Sure.
So our design process involves meeting with the customer and finding out what their vision or what their requirements are. Then we will go back and we will pull in anyone who has a stake in the game and get their requirements, because a lot of times the people have a vision but they don't know what it takes. They don't know what it takes to staff it. And then we will walk them through once we get a design together and say, oh, so you're going to need these people to be trained. You have employees who maybe go out and shoot a video, but they don't know how to run a switcher. So when we do a design like that, we will incorporate it with the building in mind and with the employees in mind. And some things that people don't think about. Somebody has a conference room they want to turn into a studio. Well, is there a bathroom next to it? What happens when somebody?
There's always a kitchen or a bathroom next to the conference room or potential podcast studio.
Yep. So those are the things we take into consideration: sound isolation, enforcement, and then we work through the process. We work with the contractors and so forth to come up with the finish, and then we turn the keys over.
Yep. Anthony, do we have any questions from our audience right now?
One question is, what device are you streaming? All right.
We'll throw that over to you, Anthony.
Well, it's hard for me to talk and hear the echo of myself. Wow, I'm using a YOLO box and some tail air cameras, and I actually did a show yesterday talking about in terms of well, what am I going to bring to a show like this? And it's well, every particular production has different needs, which is why your consulting is so important, is because it's not people say, well, what's the best camera? Okay, for this production, a camera with a battery backup where I can kind of tweak the angle a little bit remotely is the perfect camera. If I was going to do a corporate thing where I need to shoot across the room, this is absolutely the wrong camera. If I needed to, if I was going to do sports at a stadium, this is the wrong camera.
Yeah.
So there's not one right camera, and that's why the consulting is so important, is working with the people to find out what are your needs, how are you going to use it, and then for different places, like if it's a church. Well, the camera that's going to be close on the pulpit is not going to be the same camera for wide from the back of the hall.
Yeah.
Because I need a 30x here. I don't need a 30x here.
Yeah.
So different solutions for different things. So for this particular solution, I chose this because it's a lightweight system to put down. It's got the built-in battery backup. It's got built-in multicasting and things like that. And the only challenge was knowing how loud the guests were going to be. So when you guys were talking, the first comment was, it sounds like they're overmodulated. And that's because we're all talking over top of the audience.
Hey, I got the music cut off for the live stream. And I moved the PA speaker. We are live from the Expo floor. It is a very much experiential live stream, all right?
So Jerome, that came up. Jerome says, great info. So, so far we've already got feedback on what we're explaining, that we're giving them great info. In terms of working with clients, do you find that clients often don't know what they need?
Oftentimes they do. They know what they want to do, but they don't know what it takes and what's involved. And that's why one of the things that we do is we take them out and do comparable facilities. Somebody thinks they know what they want, and we say, well, I'll make some calls to some of my clients and take them out and say, okay, this is what it takes to do what you've described. Is this kind of what you had in mind? And by them seeing it, they not only get an idea of what it is, they get to meet someone who's their peer, perhaps. And then they can go back and they can talk to that person and say, so what kind of obstacles did you run through when you were building this project?
Right.
And it gives them, makes them feel like they're part of the community now, even though they don't even have a facility yet.
Right. And then I also find that people often are focused so much on gear that they don't understand, like you said, the environment. When I was setting up a studio in one spot, they showed us this room, and it's like, well, here's this table. How much table space do you need? And I looked at it on all of it. All that stuff that you got there, that's going to have to move. I mean, we're going to need, because if you got the video switcher and then lighting and sound and wireless, it's going to expand to fill the space. And I think people don't realize how much technology and gear it takes to pull off something. It's sort of like, I watch it and it looks super simple.
So one of the most important things in the design process is the needs analysis. We have a meeting with everyone, and a lot of times people say, well, I need a Sony 750 camera, I need this. And it's like, no, you don't need that camera. you need to record a 3 people at a table. What do you need to do? So you actually have to find what the people's needs are.
Yeah.
Then you come back and you build a system design. Then you start putting pieces with it. So it's important to not talk about equipment as much as possible in a needs analysis meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and then when I do the show, I kind of focus on like, what is the goal?
Yep.
And many times people have, even in comments, they're like, I need to know the best camera, for, soccer. And I'm like, okay, well, the camera from the sideline is going to be different than the camera down on the field, which is going to be different than the camera in the end zone. Like, it's the needs and now, like, what are you doing? How are you doing? How many people do you have? It's and people sometimes get frustrated with questions. Do you find that it's sort of like, well, I just wanted an answer, and you came back with 10 questions?
Yep. But it's like you have to do that. You've got to get through that process. You got to kind of hold their feet to the fire to make sure that you get them what they need.
Yeah, I think that's critical. It's like I can't answer your question until I understand a lot more of the situation. Because the question by itself is just floating in a space. It could be answered different ways.
And which is another way why these events are meaningful, because it helps me stay educated by talking to all the manufacturers so that I can have an intelligent conversation with you when we talk about building your studio.
Right. Well, cool. Thank you very much, Bob.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bob, thank you so much for supporting the show.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I am going to we're going to go to a video, and then we are going to continue our show live from the show floor here at the Texas Production Expo.
Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
They usually put a limiter on me.
All right. We are back here at the Texas Production Expo. Look, I got commercials and everything. This is great.
It's like a professional produced show or something.
Almost.
I feel really important right now. I'm elevated up above the rest of the show floor, and
The technology doesn't matter. It's all about the stage. When you're elevated from everybody else, you're important.
oh yeah, well, and you got a switcher and everything. Look at this.
Yeah, he brought out all the toys.
Man, all right. I don't know why you have me on this nice production here.
Oh, okay. And you got stuff too. So just to let you know, we've got here,
Stuff camera.
So
let's go. User interface, and then
there you go.
oh, there's the stuff camera.
Ooh, the logo even looks great on camera.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So, Abe, tell us what we got going on here.
Well, first I'm Abe. I'm with AJA Video. I'm one of our senior product consultants. I guess I'm the only senior product consultant. We're not that big of a company. But what I do basically, I kind of work in our sales department. I work with our product managers, our engineers, and I kind of help us develop all of our exciting tools. And we got a couple of them here at the show. One of them here, I guess on camera left there, we have the Dante 12G AM. This was a thing we just announced at NAB.
Right.
So audio embedder, disembedder for Dante audio. So it'll take 16 channels of audio off of a 12G SDI stream and encode it as Dante audio. Let that fly around your network however you want.
Okay.
You hook up. I can go on your gear cam. I can show you the back panel here. It's got redundant network ports on there. So you could actually, you're plugged into your network, and you can grab Dante audio from your network and embed it into an SDI feed and send it out to a switcher, recorder, wherever it needs to go.
So it's bi-directional depending on what people need.
Yep, depending on your needs, it'll embed or disembed. You can kind of think of it as like an audio gateway of sorts to the IP world, because there's a lot of IP audio out there. and you got to get that out to baseband every now and then. So that's what that does, and it's got all the latest Dante sauce in there. So it'll do the fancy new Dante modes for like AES 67 and for SMPTE 2110-30.
Wow.
So it allows your Dante audio to play really, really nicely in these new fancy IP video and audio networks that we're seeing pop up all over the place. So exciting new world with the IP stuff. And this
Definitely.
is just one little small thing. And also, I mean, it's a new form factor for AJA. I mean, we're usually known for our little gray boxes. This is like a medium gray box.
It looks just slightly taller than one rack unit. Like this is a rack unit; it would slide in. That one's a little.
We got some little desktop feet on the bottom of there for the purposes of just having it on the desktop. But yeah, it's designed to fit on a rack shelf.
Okay.
You could fit, I believe, 3 of these across one shelf, and it will fit in one rack unit. So convenient form factor, and then it has a local UI on the front, so you actually got a little user interface, so you can adjust all the parameters. That's a new thing for us, having these local UIs. And this bigger box and these local UIs, I'd say stay tuned to AJA news here over the next year or so. There's some exciting stuff we can do with this kind of form factor.
All right, and what's the color box?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the color box.
The color box, I was really excited to bring this to the show because we have a lot of production people here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of little student filmmakers. And I think they're really going to get a kick out of the color box. What it is, in the most basic terms possible, is a lookup table injection device. It'll inject 1D and 3D LUTs.
Okay.
But it does so much more than that. I mean, we've got our standard AJA color pipeline in there. That's AJA engineered color pipeline stuff that allows you to make your custom lookup tables, 1D lookup tables, 3D lookup tables, and apply those to any image that's passing, or any video stream that's passing through the color box. It also can act as like an RGB color corrector, proc amp, that type of thing. So, I mean, we have people integrating third-party control surfaces with this thing and basically using it almost as like an RCP type of thing to just shade cameras live.
Oh, okay.
Because one of its craziest features is its low latency. Usually when people say low latency, we're talking, a frame, 2 frames, something like that. We measure the latency on the color box in pixels. It's less than a line. It's completely imperceptible latency. So what it allows people to do, at this show last year, there was a big old truck parked out in front. It was the Cinelive guys. Well, in that Cinelive truck, he's got a rack of 20 of these color boxes. And what it allows him to do is take all the different cameras that he has or runs into at a production, and they all go into the color boxes, and now he can use color boxes to unify the look of all of those cameras all live. And because the latency is so low, you can have it on a live board at a concert. So you're literally watching a concert and you're looking at the live feed, and it looks like a movie that someone shot a concert,
Right.
captured all the video, took it into post, and spent 6 months polishing everything. But you're seeing it live,
Right.
And they send these out to broadcast. You can see it live, and in the venue. It's really, really incredible. And that's just the live application.
Right.
All the other stuff that Colorbox does, it has several different color pipelines in it. So we have some of them are optional extras because not everyone's going to need BBC HLG LUTs in their lives, but we want to have that available. So there's some optional extras in there that get you some extra color pipelines, and they're permanent licenses. You buy it once, and then it's active, and then you have it on the color box for the rest of your life.
Right.
So we'll have we have the BBC HLG LUTs that I just mentioned, and those are BBC standard lookup tables for various different color transforms that need to happen for various different broadcast purposes within the whole BBC world. So it can be transforming from log formats to HDR formats, SDR to HDR, one HDR format to another HDR format, all with these custom, a big room of very important people all agreed on these looks, and then they standardized on them, and so we built those into the color box. Then there's another set of those for NBC Universal. That's the NBCU LUTs. It's pretty much the same type of thing as the BBC, but it's NBCU. Then we have the Orion Convert engine, which is actually the color science engine that created the NBCU LUTs. So if those NBCU LUTs aren't nerdy enough for you, you can actually tweak all of that stuff with the engine that actually built them in the color box. And then, because, maybe we're crazy, we put the ColorFront engine in there as well. So the ColorFront engine that's something from another one of our products, the FS-HDR. So that's a big, about $10,000 multi-channel HD or single-channel 4K frame synchronizer and converter that has a color front engine in there and can do HDR to SDR, SDR to HDR, various HDR cross conversions. All in this big frame synchronizer box. So that's been used in broadcast facilities and live productions to basically kind of bridge this SDR to HDR gap. Because, I mean, as you know, on a multi-camera production or any sort of live production or a broadcast, not all your sources are going to look the same. Like some are SDR, some are HDR. So the FS-HDR kind of unified all that. Well, we decided to put the color front engine in the color box as an optional extra. So while the color box isn't a big frame synchronizer and converter and audio embed, disembed, mix julienne fries and all that, it now has the HDR to SDR conversion capabilities of the FS-HDR based on that color front engine. So it's the same stuff.
That's a lot of technology in a box that's literally the size of my hand.
Yeah.
So you've got these tools out, and so what brings you to a show like this? So what is the audience that you find at a show like this to show these boxes?
You know, around here, I talk to a lot of filmmakers and aspiring filmmakers here, and that I mean, that's why I love the show, because you know, when they're in the start of their career, if you can educate the filmmaker students on, like, you know, proper habits and proper workflows and proper color management and things like that, it makes them more valuable employees in the future. Like, they're going to be better on set, and it makes for, you know, more engaging, more enriching content. It allows people to make prettier pictures. So I love talking to the filmmakers here and telling them, you know, the tools that we provide to make their lives easier. And it's kind of cool. They kind of bug out about a lot of the stuff that we do, because, you know, the things that this box can do, it's stuff that was like reserved previously for real high-end color grading systems. Like, I haven't even talked about the ACES color pipeline that's in here. That's the other thing. I mean, we have the ACES, which is the Academy Color Encoding System. I think I got that right. But it was the Motion Picture Academy developed this, and basically it's a framework for color management across an entire production workflow.
Right.
And this goes from, you know, initial capture with the camera all the way to VFX and post-production and delivery. And what ACES is it's basically, it operates with these AMF packages. And these are the packages that have all these complex, for lack of a better term, recipes for making your pictures pretty. But these recipes are input transforms, output transforms, little color transforms that happen in the middle there.
Right.
This was really CPU, GPU intensive stuff that it's like, okay, you're shooting live on set, you record everything, but we're not going to apply our final look to this until post-production, because it takes a big old computer, a big old color grading system to do that.
Right.
Now, what you can do is you have your camera live on set, you have a little monitor there, you have a color box in line. Color box will unpack that entire ACES AMF package, apply everything all in real time with that pixel measured latency that we were talking about, and it allows you to look at your final look live on set. So it allows directors, DPs, producers, everyone to make much quicker decisions, you know, live on set about, oh, well, we had this look that we were kind of going for, but if you have the camera set like that, or if the set is lit like that, it doesn't really work with our look. Well, they used to find that stuff out in post. Now they can find it out live on set and make adjustments and just make their lives easier.
So tools like this make filmmaking more efficient.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for showing them to us. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you guys having this awesome setup here. I'd sit here all day.
Well, unfortunately, we've got a lot of technology to show, because obviously we've got a lot of technology going on at the show. So I'm going to run another commercial, so to speak, another video, and we'll be back here at StreamTek Live at the Dallas Producers Association Texas Production Expo in Grapevine, Texas.
Thank you so much, sir.
A city that will breathe life into its pages. To be both an inspiration and a guide. I'm talking logistics, locations, permits, a full production directory. You need a city with resources and accessibility. You need a city with a strong film commission.
All right. We are back here. I have to take the headphones out because there's a little bit of a delay. Thank you all for being here. This is StreamTek live at the Dallas Producers Association. Texas
Production Expo. You can. Vice President Wethington gives you official permission
to just say Texas Production Expo.
Yeah, you could drop the Dallas Producers Association.
All right. As you just saw, that was the Fort Worth Film Commission's promo for, filming here in the Fort Worth area. And we have Taylor Hardy here from the Fort Worth Film Commission. So thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. There's so much going on in our city right now, so excited to share more.
So, you go ahead.
All right. So first of all, just tell us a little bit about the Fort Worth Film Commission, because it was started about 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago in October.
Okay.
And we've just seen so much growth in that time. We started from, just trying to promote the city, gather our local crew, start our production directory and our locations library, and we were fighting for one scene in a movie. Or small commercials, and now we have entire TV shows based in the city.
Yes, you do.
More of this steady stream, which is great for people that are living and working in Texas to have that consistency and job opportunity.
Yeah, and I think Movie Maker magazine just named Fort Worth number 19 for production, best place to live and work for in production.
Yeah.
So how in just almost 10 years did you guys go all the way from, probably most people didn't even think about Fort Worth, now you're number 19?
Yeah, I think that we've really focused on our local community. Where our goal is to try to bring productions here that may be shooting in other locations, but to do that, we want to make sure that we have a strong creative community at our heart. So we're promoting local creatives and projects that are filming here. We have resources available for everyone, from our production directory to our locations. And then trying to just promote work on our social media too. Our Instagram is @FilmFortWorth, and we have one of the largest followings of any US-based film commissions.
Very
and
cool.
a lot of that was because we're promoting locals in this local work. So,
it's not about the Fort Worth Film Commission, it's about the community and everything that's shooting here.
Right.
And you already mentioned promoting the local workforce. You guys have formed a partnership with Tarrant County Community College.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I almost am thinking about going back to school again.
Yeah, it's an interesting program. It's a fast-track certification for really specific departments where we've seen some gaps. So things like set construction, grip and gaff positions, hair and makeup, constantly trying to expand this program. But to people who maybe have never worked in the film industry and teaching them what they need to know to apply these specific skills and work on set. And it is in partnership with 101 Studios. They which is the company behind most of Taylor Sheridan's shows, they're really wanting to build roots in Fort Worth and hire local Texans. So through this program, they're taking these graduates and then hiring them for jobs on things like Lioness and Landman or promotions for their shows. So it's nice to have that partnership and these opportunities to connect students to jobs.
Yeah, I know with SB 22 going through the House, like one of the pushbacks has always been like, is there enough crew here in Texas to support this amount of production? And I think with The Chosen and everything Taylor Sheridan's doing, we've definitely proven that there is a nice set of crew here, and we're also investing in like the future of crew too. And then you mentioned something during the year TXMPA Roadshow. You guys are number 6, the 6th city that can promote the Oscars.
Yes, so we're one of 6 Oscar qualifying cities in the world, and that's Dallas-Fort Worth. So you can either qualify for the Academy by winning an award at a qualifying film festival, or you can go and do this on your own. So premiering your project in a qualifying theater for 7 days, and then after you've done that, you can submit your project for consideration. So we're one of 6 in the world, in good company with LA, New York, Bay Area, Atlanta, and Chicago. Really showcasing how DFW is a major media market and a great opportunity for people around the world that are wanting to come to DFW, but also people living here to be able to show their work at home. Yeah,
and really like the only location in all of the South, Fort Worth, and then Chicago's Midwest, so you have to come to Fort Worth, and your office can help with that. What does that process look like? Because there's a lot of indie filmmakers and documentary workers here that are kind of in production, but they obviously, let's try to get it up for the Oscars. So what does that process look like?
Yeah, so as we learn more about this process to premiere your project in theaters, we found that it can be very expensive in places like LA or New York. Those theater rental costs alone can be $5,000 to $10,000, and that just seemed like a really unnecessary barrier for filmmakers. You guys have enough on your plates already, so we wanted to just make that an easy process. So we have these premiere packages that we just launched in February, where we're providing 4 short films a year with a free theatrical screening, following all Academy rules. It includes a red carpet, an after party. You would get a 50% of the profits from the ticket sales for these events, and we really just want to celebrate people. It also includes some transportation costs, so hotel rooms for you to fly in cast and crew, flights, transportation stipend. So
as a producer, I understand all those little things add up, and they're like, why are we spending $10,000 on airfare? And it's like...
Exactly. Yeah, so we're really excited about this program. We're accepting applications now at fortworth.com/premiere package.
And the Fort Worth Film Commission can also help with film permits, right? I mean, Fort Worth provides so many unique backgrounds. How does that process work?
Yeah, we're a free resource, so anyone can work with us. Filmforward.com is our website where you can find our film-friendly locations library. We have over 300 locations that are open to working with film productions. So if you see something you like, email us, and we can send information to the owner and see if they'd be open to working with you, have availability, and kind of what next steps would be there. And same thing with permits. We want to make it easy. So if you have a question and you're filming in Sundance Square, you want to know what that process looks like, we can put you in touch with the right people or let you know what next steps would be. And just try to make it easier. And we want everyone to have a great experience in Fort Worth.
Yeah, and it shows there's so much production happening over there. And you guys heard it. It's a free service. So you don't have to have a Hollywood production to start a conversation with your office. You guys are here to help everybody.
Yeah, we work with all project types, all budgets. We've seen that, a lot of times these big projects start by one small scene. So someone like David Lowery, he was filming a project called A Ghost Story in Dallas, and he was looking for a construction pit. Couldn't find one. He reached out to our team, and at the time, Frost Tower was under construction. So we were able to get them in to get this one shot they needed. And he had such a great experience that every project he's done since, he's tried to come back to Fort Worth for filming. So we worked with him on Old Man and the Gun, his wife Augustine on a film called Never Going Back. Even The Green Knight, which filmed primarily in Europe, came back and did a day of filming in Fort Worth. So,
very cool.
Yeah, so we definitely value the importance of supporting everyone at all stages, and so.
Awesome. And then one last time, how can anybody that's listening or here engage with your office? What's the email?
You can reach me at taylorhardy@fortworth.com. Follow us on Instagram at Film Fort Worth. Send us a DM there, and we'll make sure you get connected. Or visit our website at filmfortworth.com.
Very cool. And Taylor, I know you've been at the Film Commission since it's basically started, and now you are the Film Commissioner. You're doing amazing things there.
Thank you.
Cannot wait to see what the next 10 years does, and we definitely have to do something in October to celebrate your 10th anniversary.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Nice talking to you.
Hey, I wanted to thank you all for being here for original, genuine streaming information, testing, and reviews. My name is Anthony Barocas of StreamTek. Please subscribe to the channel so we can grow this audience for producing real content for you. Real-world experiences and feedback where I tell you what doesn't work too. No AI is going to actually test and use these tools to find out what doesn't work. So the only way to combat all the crap AI-generated videos that regurgitate the same press release information is to subscribe and share real, genuine, experienced streaming content like this. The main location for our live streaming content is StreamTeknology with a K on YouTube. Here, you'll find all of our live shows, our conversations, and all of our fantastic tutorials and tech videos for you to watch anytime you want. I also have a StreamTeknology Facebook page you can subscribe to as well for more information and so you can discuss the shows and videos with other fans. If you're looking for specific assistance with a setup or integration, or for consulting, you can go to stream4.us. That's Stream for Us, and you can reach out to me directly right there. I provide live streaming services and consulting to anyone who needs it. I also write for Streaming Media Magazine, which you can find at streamingmedia.com. There you can click on Producer and see a wealth of content for streaming producers like you and me. They also have a free weekly email newsletter that brings useful information right to your email inbox. But right now, the best thing you can do to help me out is to subscribe and take the video that you like, that you find helpful, and share it on your social media so it might be seen by people who aren't connected to me. That would help me out so much. And you can actually do that while watching this video. Try it.
The entire trade show booth is completely powered by portable rechargeable high-capacity e-generators. The LFP battery cells inside are made by CATL, the same company that supplies batteries for EVs like Tesla and come with a 10-year warranty. They don't use gasoline, so they can be used indoors without fear of dangerous CO emissions and are completely silent. Simple to operate, portable, and easy to hide away means less time laying down and securing potentially dangerous trip cables across walkways.
Oh, right. We are setting up here.
There's a cooler
my name is
behind,
Anthony
like,
Barocas.
When you're on the right side, like our table.
StreamTek live at the Texas Production Expo. Oh, that is so much easier to say. And we are setting up with our next
Ian's
tech demo, Tom O'Neill of CreamSource.
I'm not Tom.
Oh, you're not Tom.
He has all the drinks in the back for the happy. We may need to.
So you can see behind him.
So look in there, and if
Tom O'Neill's right back there.
Like you can get him.
And was it Richard?
Yes.
Richard, well, it's good to have you here, Richard. Welcome to the Technology Production Expo.
Texas Production Expo.
Texas Production Expo.
Welcome back to the Texas Production Expo, streaming live on the StreamTek YouTube and Facebook channel. And in this segment, we have a really, really cool lighting vendor that's been a longtime supporter of the show, CreamSource. And the more I look onto your website, the more cool tools I always find. And I'm like, we just relit our entire studio, but I'm like, hey, let's redo Studio C, and I got some cool new toys. So tell us about your app that I know you guys just brought out. Was this launched at NAB or was
just before, actually?
Just before NAB.
Yes. So this is a very new product for us. This is our first software offering.
Okay.
This is called Slide from CreamSource, and we wanted to make a lighting control application that is a app first. We wanted to make a lighting control application Okay, that's good. We wanted to make a lighting control application that supported the type of fixtures that would be on a typical set. So that doesn't mean any one brand. It's going to be a bunch of different brands.
Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of everything.
Right. And we wanted to support what filmmakers like to use. So we have a diversity of fixtures here. I brought some over from our booth. And we wanted to make something that's an app first. So I'm going to turn on some fixtures here. And all I have to do is double tap. I think I turned this one off by accident. Yes, I did. All I have to do is double tap, and I can turn these fixtures on. Now you can see all different fixtures. I'm going to select these fixtures. I'm going to bring up a control panel. I'm going to make this a little bigger. I don't know if your viewers can see this. I can get this a little closer there. So there we go. Amazing. So you can see the dotted lines are the color gamut that is achievable by these different fixtures. And all I have to do if I want to pick a color on these different fixtures is drag around. So I'm working in CIE XY, but I'm just touching the screen. Really intuitive, fast, easy to pick up and use. Now, these are all different light engines. I've got Aperture MT Pros, I've got DMG Dashes, I have a Lunabolt from Astera, I have Pixel Bricks from Astera. These are all different light engines, they work differently, but Slide is doing the color science for you. Now, let's say, oh, I don't really want to think in a scientific way. Okay, well, I can bring up a color wheel, and now I can spin the color wheel around, and I'm able to control color the way that I want to, but you know what, I can go back to XY, that's that same color. So I am able to work with color wheel, XY, don't lose any fidelity, it's scientifically accurate at all times. I also can work with swatches. So I've got a gels library, I can pick from a gels library. I also can make my own, which I have done, and you can see all the same color. Different light engines, but I'm getting the same color out of all these fixtures. If I make a lighting scene that I really like, and like a cooking show, I have done that. Okay, let's select all these. We're going to clear this out. All right, so if I go to Lookbook, this is like a storybook of lighting ideas, and I can switch between them. So let's bring this one up. So this is just 3200 Kelvin, 6500 Kelvin. I can mix. You can see Slide is fading between, or maybe it's sliding between looks. I can switch to this thing I call Mix Color, and I have all different colors here. This is just the bulbs, and I don't have to go in order. So this is not like a cue stack. I could do cueing with this, but I don't have to go in a linear fashion. A lot of times on a set, you're not working in that sort of linear way. So you can respond to whatever the story it is that you need to tell. Or if you have a podcast studio, you can have different times of day, you can have different segments, and you can go from segment to segment right here in the lookbook. If you want to change something, it's as easy as editing a page of a document. You open up the look, there it is. I can pick those fixtures. I get the same control panel that I had before. And now I can change the color as I need. And I can save that, and done, boom, that is done, that is in there, and I can switch back and forth, and there's what I made.
That is amazing.
That is absolutely amazing.
Connectivity, so you are seeing, so we're doing streaming ACN out of the iPad to this device. This is called the Skycast. It is running CRMX out to all of these fixtures which have CRMX built in. CRMX is great because it's really fast. So all of these fades that you saw me doing, they're really smooth because CRMX has a really high frame rate. I can do Bluetooth to a Vortex. That's another way that we really like to work. If you already own a Vortex, you don't need anything else. You go Bluetooth into the Vortex. The Vortex just sends streaming CRMX for you. So you get a lot of value out of the Vortex. You can use it as a transmitter as well. Sort of a hidden feature. Fixtures. If you want to add a fixture, I go to my DMX map. I hit this plus here, and there are my cream source fixtures that I can add. But I've got Aperture, Airy, I've got Astera, I've got Chroma Q, Cineo, Claypacky. I've got moving lights in here if I'm working with movers. Felix. I've got dimmers. We still use dimmers. If you work with LED tape, Slide is really good because of its color science and working with LED tape. We've got LED tape built into here. And we're adding more fixtures and manufacturers as we go. If you have a favorite fixture, tell us on Discord, and we'd be happy to make a profile for you. We just added Icon, actually, just recently.
I see every fixture that I've used in both my studio, my home, and my field production kit. And
Nice.
This would be an amazing tool because I have about 5 different devices on my mobile app right now to try to control all of this. But the fact that I can sync it, because like an Aperture and an Anlight don't always have the same color temperature and all of that, and it does all that thinking for me. It's really cool.
Even goes, if you're working in virtual production or you're working alongside video, you can disable fixture gamuts and you can bring up Rec 709. And so now you know that you're working with color that's in the Rec 709 safe, or if you're working 2020, we have that also. You just turn those on and off as you need. We want to support multiple workflows. We want to really be in these different levels of production. And one of the things also is lighting should be really fun. I've been a gaffer for 22 years. I love doing lighting. I wanted to make a tool that was fun to use in that way. So,
Well, I think you've made a fantastic tool.
thank you. Thank you.
And it really shows the way you've thought through things. It's always better when someone who does the production can develop something as opposed to an engineer. An engineer develops it in a way that the person in the field is like, what the hell? How do I? And you just can't think of it that way.
This app is very intuitive. It's beautiful. It's like this is my first time seeing it, and the user interface, I'm like, this all makes perfect sense to me. It's like we were talking about, I don't know how long or what this app is going to look like, and I'm like, dude, you need to win an award for UX design.
Thank you.
This is by far the best production app we'll probably see for the next few years.
We had an amazing team working with us on this, and we have a lot of features in the pipeline that we're developing. And one other thing I'll say is that you described people who make the tools that they want to use for themselves. That is all of CreamSource. Every fixture we've ever made is made for the person who is going to use it. It's great engineering, but it's really, where does that meet the person who's using it in the field? How does it make their day better?
Right.
And can it be fun? Is there a way to make it fun?
Yes, I'm almost afraid to ask, like, how much is the price on this? Because now I want it, and I want to play with it.
So it's free for 3 fixtures.
Okay.
You can have any 3 fixtures you want for free. Okay. It's $20 a month for as many fixtures as you want, up to 2 universes of DMX.
Okay.
And you get a little discount if you subscribe for a year. 2 months free if you subscribe for a year.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciated seeing this technology. I know people on StreamTek might be like, well, it's not a streaming thing. Well, if you're streaming without lights,
yes,
you're not really streaming. And you watch tons of streamers. They've got these cool, well-lit sets, and to be able to go between scenes, very smoothly and everything. I think that really does, speak to, because lighting is that, it helps elevate a project. It really does.
It helps you level up if you can do good lighting. And look, streaming. I watch a lot of streamed content.
Yeah,
it is a way to consume content now, and there's so many streamers who are doing a beautiful job of their productions. The more I can help them level up, the more excited I'll be about it. We're doing an event in Burbank in June. It's called that CreamSource thing. You will see Slide, all of our fixtures, virtual production, video walls, how we work alongside video, some pretty interesting, sophisticated compositing techniques that we do. Come see us in Burbank in June.
Very cool.
That CreamSource thing is what it's called.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good food and fun, too.
The Texas Production Expo. It's a one-day event where we have hundreds, if not 1,000 people this year come through the doors to interact and engage with vendors from camera, lighting, production. Those of you who can't go to NAB in Vegas, those of you who don't have the opportunity to put your hand on a $30,000 production camera to test it before you purchase it, this is the place to come.
I've been coming here for probably 4 or 5 years, and really the traffic today has been incredible. It's been a knockout. A lot of people that never even heard of us before are now going to become members, and so it's been really great to be a part of the film community here in Dallas, to see all the excitement and the buzz.
As a first-time attendee, it's been amazing. We had a lot of traffic, a lot of interest as well, so it's been great for our business to let people know that we're here.
Really gives us a chance to kind of meet up with our old clients if we haven't seen them in a while, but also to sort of greet the new faces. And so it lets us kind of meet those people for the first time and really introduce them to our services and what we do and who we are.
As social media influencers, when we saw the interview on TV, my sisters and I were interested in it.
And while we were here, we were able to see so many practical applications, like instantly.
We're showcasing a lot of equipment that you could go and shoot with tomorrow. Really about hands-on, getting your hands on the equipment, learning about the equipment while you're here, and then maybe figuring it out if that's something you want to use on your next production.
I'm really excited about the AI and creativity seminar to see how we can use AI both in production and help our clients make better products all around.
Being here has been amazing.
It just gets bigger every year.
It's the best it's ever been, and it's an amazing event.
Alrighty, hello there. My name is Anthony Barocas. Oh wait, I'm doing the titles. I am here at StreamTek live at the Texas Production Expo. Less words makes it easy. If you are late to the live stream, we are literally doing this live streaming, multi-camera live here on the show floor. There's dozens of vendors here, hundreds of people all checking out.
40 vendors, 40 booths, 70 vendors, that last count. I think we had a few other just like join in and
there's
get
some
somewhere.
in the parking lot.
Yeah,
y'all are spilling out.
Spilling into the parking lot, like always.
And we're going to try and shout over top of the giveaway that they're doing right now, right over there. So
it's live production at a live expo, live streaming. So there will be some technical difficulties.
So here with us right now is Erin Elizabeth, from producer for the
Chosen Adventures.
Chosen Adventures.
Yep.
Currently. But you've been a producer for 15 years.
Yes. I don't look it, but yes, I've been producing for a while.
And you just came off the Chosen Adventures. You've done corporate. You've done commercial work. You've done feature films.
Yep.
Just like, I really wanted to bring you on the show because you've been in production in Texas for over a decade.
Yeah.
Like, how has it changed over the years? And then also, where do you see it going? I know you just got off a panel where we were talking about the future of production, but like really, like when you started and now like where we're at, just kind of tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, there's a lot more narrative work in the state. Like, it's amazing. Like, just, and not just like one-offs, because like, I would say 10 years ago, I would work like pilot season, which they don't really have that anymore, but like I would get to work on like bigger like narrative shows, like, and it was really great. But then those would go away. Like once that season, once that spring, January to March or April was over, like all that would kind of go away. What's amazing to me right now is like there's studios like 5 and 2 who does The Chosen, or like Taylor Sheridan. Like they're setting up shop here in the state to do things over and over again here, not just one-offs, but actually to like help support some of the infrastructure and do a little bit more than one show here and leave. Like, they're getting incentives and they're getting, money and then turning around and putting it back into the people that are here.
Yeah, The Chosen is now on its 5th season, going into its 6th.
They're filming the 6th right now.
Okay.
And there will be a total of 7.
Total of 7, and then they're already doing spin-offs, which is The Adventures, and that's an animated series geared towards children, right?
It's their first animated series, but the fun thing is about this show, it's not just kids, it's really co-viewing. So it's really meant to be, maybe the kids press play, but it's for the whole family. Like when I sit there and like I've watched every episode probably like 100 times at this point, I'm not sick of them. Like I love them. Every time I watch, there's like a new little nugget of something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never noticed that before, or something fun. And that's the point of it, is that it's a co-viewing experience. It's something that everyone can kind of get in on and watch and enjoy together as a family, not just
There's a very big debate in my family between my wife and my 5-year-old daughter. Who's the biggest Bluey fan? Because when season 3 came out, me and my wife may have like binge watched all of it.
Without your kids?
Without our kids. My wife needed to mentally prepare because there's always 1 or 2 tearjerker episodes. So.
I mean, I will say that like as much as I laugh on this show, I do like tear up sometimes just because it's just, there's just shows that have this common, just highlight the shared experience of humans. Like, just like the human experience. And like, it's based on a 9-year-old girl, but like all of her questions and everything she wonders about or experiences are things we all kind of wonder about and experience. So it's really fun. I love it. Like,
And you know, we have Taylor Sheridan here, The
Yeah.
Chosen,
Yeah.
the Chosen Adventures, which that was a partnership with a local studio as well.
yeah, so 5 and 2 is
Yeah.
like the mothership.
Yeah.
And so they work closely with Fort Worth studio Out of Order. So that's
Okay.
Chad and Chris.
Yes.
And so they work with them to help, you know, the day-to-day production of these different projects. So
Very cool.
they're kind of like the, you know, they sit at the tippy top, 5 and 2, and then they hire to get support and input and creative help where they can.
Okay. And where was the series animated at?
So it's so funny. So one of the executive producers, Chris June, is like, he knew the people he wanted to work with, and he did like a patchwork of different talent from like all over. So, you know, there's a lot of steps in the animation process. So across, you know, Real Effects here in Dallas,
Another local.
Brazen
Yeah.
in Richardson, which is Dallas, you
Yeah.
know, north. He was able to cobble together this team that worked really well together. And so now some of our work was done in Montreal because there's a lot of talent that sits up there because there's a lot of incentives.
Yeah.
And so, but it's really neat. And then a lot of our creative talent, you know, some of the people have moved here from LA to Dallas. So a lot of Texas folks putting hands on the project.
Well, and as we've seen with some of the technology that like AJA and Cream Source and all these other vendors, it's really a new world where talent doesn't have to be in LA or Georgia or someplace. They can live wherever they want and still find work now. And with SB 22 going through the House in Texas, amping up its film incentive program, I guess my last question to you would be, where do you think the next 5 years of production goes? We have these shops that have set up and done multi-seasonal runs and partnered with other studios, which is amazing, but where do you think we'll be in 5 years with streaming and television narrative?
I think for me, like, instead of looking at the work that's coming, I really like to think about the people that are going to be here, that are going to be supported by the work. And I think that our infrastructure is going to be stronger. Like, but really 5 years in production standpoint, especially for like animation, that's like if it's episodic, that's like, you know, either maybe like 2.5 features, or maybe it's like 2 seasons of a series. So, I mean, I just hope that by having more incentives, you're making the pot bigger, more productions want to come in, but it's really about building that infrastructure of talent. And so I'm hoping that the infrastructure of talent will bulk up to meet these companies where they're at. Or maybe some people will take initiative to do it preemptively so that when the work does come here, everybody's here.
Well, I know the Fort Worth Film Commission has already started partnering with Tarrant County Community College in building that up. I know there's talks about other workshops and fast-paced program to really build up the talent here.
Well, and A&M had got that land grant out in Fort Worth, and so they're already doing that work. I mean, they started putting, you know, wheels on that back in 2023, and so they're preparing to help students and get that going today, which is what we need. So they're working ahead for us.
Yeah, 20 years ago, I would have never guessed that A&M was going to be the largest university in Texas for animation, but I mean, they're there. They have volume walls. They're training. It's like the sleeping giant and just college
They are. Well, I didn't know this, but they actually are number 2 in the nation for animation schools.
Oh wow, they're
only
number 2.
Only to UCLA. Only, like, you know. But I mean, they're doing the work. I mean, like, it's amazing. So I think like all these things are coming together to do good in our industry. It's just a matter of us supporting them. We need to keep bringing the projects here so that we can use all this infrastructure that's being created.
Well, thankfully, we have awesome producers like you that live and work here and are doing projects and helping us bring work here. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, we are back here live at the Texas Production Expo. My name is Anthony Barocas here from StreamTek. We are broadcasting live to both the StreamTek YouTube channel and the Dallas Producers channel, as well as Facebook channels. There's a lot going on, and speaking of a lot going on in the Dallas area, I have with me Barack. Do I say Barack?
You said it right.
Barack Epstein.
You said it right.
And you wear many hats.
Yeah, but depending on the situation, I might be in one hat or another. Today I'm mostly in one hat, but I can add a few hats. Where do you want me to look, by the way?
You can look right there. I was just gonna re-aim that one because we've had two people for most of them, so I'm just gonna aim it at you.
Go ahead and re-aim. We're doing this live. But
there you go.
So here I'm in Texas Film Gear mode, and Texas Film Gear is an integrator, reseller of film and television and cinema style gear. So we do lighting, we do cameras, we do audio, we do studio builds and designs and integrations. We also do post-production gear. So we actually don't produce anything. We help other people produce stuff. We
hence the name gear in the name.
Yeah, we sell gear. We also don't rent gear. We prefer to service the rental companies, but we don't do rental ourselves. That's a whole other world.
Right.
So we were mostly sales and integration of anything in this room, most of it. Our ethos is in film style production, but the practical application for the customers that we talk to are people who are doing education, sports, corporate filmmaking, applying film style production to other areas of the industry.
All right, and then also in terms of saying film style production, to make films, right?
Yeah.
You also oversee the Oak Cliff Film Festival.
Yeah, the Oak Cliff Film Festival was started out of the Texas Theater in 2012 or so, and the idea was to show a weekend of independent films and films on the festival circuit and local films and films we could get from submissions to an audience in Dallas and maybe all over Texas, and films that weren't coming here. We do have a lot of film festivals here in Dallas, but there's a lot of films out there, and every year as the filmmaking equipment becomes more cost effective, it opens it up for more people to get to make their own films. So again, we want to show more of those. The ones, so that's why we find a place for it at the theater, and it's a separate thing from the theater. So we run the theater year round as a movie theater and venue and place where touring comedy happens.
Just for people who don't know, when you say the theater, that is
the Texas Theater in Oak Cliff,
okay,
on Jefferson, which is again a 2-screen year-round movie theater venue, all-purpose space. 680 downstairs, 165 in the upstairs theater, which we added during COVID. So, we quickly realized many years ago that showing a low-budget touring indie film on a random Tuesday night at 9 p.m. is not the way to draw people in to discover these films. So we wanted to contextualize and bring those films together over a weekend in June. Which is maybe a slow weekend in the film scene, in the film festival scene,
right.
and bring in out-of-town filmmakers. We host them. We try a lot of the sponsorship money that the film festival gets is to host filmmakers and bring them in and make it like sort of a camp vibe for filmmaking. Ashton Campbell, who's on the board of the DPA, who puts on this event, is the main producer director of the film festival, and he really makes it happen every year.
Well, that is very cool, and you're holding this lens. Let me see if I get a close up of this lens. You're holding this lens.
I have to have stuff to play with since it's a gear show. You told me.
Yeah, it's a gear show. So let's get back to the Texas Film Gear.
Yeah.
What is it that you have here?
Well, we're showing a bunch of different brands at the show, and I brought a few things just over what I could fit on the table. This is a relatively new brand for us, is Nisi. And I don't know what year Nisi started, But to me, I knew them primarily as a filter company.
Yeah, let's hold that up really close.
Oh, there you go. Get that depth of field close up in there. Nice work.
How close can I get?
You can get pretty close.
Apparently darn close.
And you got some macro there. That's pretty. That's nice. So Nisi started coming out with lenses a few years ago, cinema lenses that are independent film budget friendly, in my opinion.
Will this fit on my phone?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the guy who likes to adapt bigger lenses to small things. You have a history of this. This is obviously PL, but we can get this in other mounts, and we can adapt mount it. It's not a heavy lens. And so they have these ones called the Athenas, which we're showing over in our booth. We have a few different lenses from them. But this one I'm really interested in because not only is it lightweight, not only is it a T19, not only is it full frame, but it's what they're calling tuned, and hence the silver color here. And there's been a trend in recent years for not all lenses to be super clean. So I have this Zeiss lens here, which is amazing. This is the nice Nano Prime, which we can talk about more too. But Zeiss is known for very clean, very sharp.
Pure. You just let it pass through.
But now what we've got is cameras that are extremely sharp, extremely clean. And then we have lenses that are extremely sharp, extremely clean. Then we got 4K, 6K, 8K.
It's getting a little too clinical.
It's getting a little too clinical, perhaps. So so there's been a trend, if you read American Cinematographer, that they're like, oh, well, we're getting these vintage lenses.
Yeah.
We'll put them on a Venice, we'll put them on an Alexa, but we got to find something vintage. Well, so now the lens manufacturers are being smart, and they're like, well, we can make something vintage for you. And so this is Nisi's entry into that. It's their tuned lens.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit of a vintage vibe to it.
Do they have different tunings?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I think that this series is tuned one way.
I kind of know about that a little bit only because they make these anamorphic lenses for mobile phones.
Yeah. The Moment or whatever.
Now you can get them with a blue tint or a gold tint. You actually pick a different lens, whether you want the flaring to have a different look or not. So it's like even like mobile phone lenses, having a tuned lens is a thing.
So speaking of tuned, you mentioned the blue flare. So I brought over this nice Zeiss. And Zeiss, these are a little fancier, but Zeiss is known obviously for very high-end glass.
Yes.
But they have budget-friendly stuff as well. And if you go over to their booth, they're showing, I think it's called the Radiance, and those have a blue flare in a spherical lens. It's not anamorphic.
Right.
But they're doing some interesting flaring with if you shine light at it and getting the blue thing you're talking about, which is maybe trendy. This is a new series which I'm pretty into, which they're calling the Nano Primes, and they're all E-mount, but you can adapt them to whatever. So you can see I built this sucker out. Maybe you can't even tell what kind of camera it is, but it's a Canon. And this is a C80, which is one of the newer Canon, run and gun friendly cinema cameras. And but obviously these are going to be native RF. But we've got a little adapter on there to convert it to E-mount. But the Nanos, traditionally would run on FX6, FX9, FX3, Burano, which also has native E-mount. So these would be great for those, and they're all super fast. They're pretty lightweight. This sucker goes up to a 1.5. I think several of them are 1.5. In this price range, in this form factor, with this Zeiss pedigree, is it's pretty exciting, I think. The other thing we're doing here is you're streaming this out to wherever this is going into the interweb. We're also streaming out this demo right this second back to our booth. So you were on screen at our booth, or sort of in small HD Teradek.
Where's your audio connect?
I may not be streaming audio. But what I've got here is a Teradek bolt, which is chained off of the back of this guy. This is a wooden camera plate, wooden camera rig. I've got an Anton Bauer battery. and I can power my Anton Bauer, I can power my camera and my Teradek from this nifty plate, and send the signal back over to Video Village, which happens to be our booth at the show.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're showing in this nifty rig, which is pretty handheld friendly. And I've got a quick release, and I can throw it right back down on my Miller tripod down there. But to me, Canon's usually, I just talked to a filmmaker 5 minutes ago about this, and we have this, and we had a red Raptor sitting next to it, and he goes, well, which would you grab for which? And I said, well, if I was going to go make a movie, and I had a crew, and I had time, and I needed that red raw, I probably would pick up the red.
Right.
But if you were like, man, can you go outside and shoot this B-roll, or I need you to grab an interview of that guy like right now, I'd grab this camera.
Right.
Because I can get exposure quickly. I can pull some depth of field quickly, and I can get a quick, pretty looking shot without a lot of work.
Right.
As a one-man band, maybe.
And then you're going to get a file that, let's just say I can take that file and then drop it into here, and because it's not raw, it doesn't need all the post-processing, and you're still going to get a really pretty looking file without having to go through the post to make it, especially in a live situation. Let's just see, someone actually came up and they asked anamorphic, and so the nanos are not.
Nanos are not anamorphic. Zeiss is not doing that in this series.
But they do have other anamorphics.
If you go higher end, so most of what we are showing at the show today is spherical. We do rep DZO, and DZO, they were actually going to ship us some Pavo anamorphics, which is their low-budget anamorphic primes. Got stuck in shipping, freight, customs, I don't know. They didn't make it. So we don't have them at the show. I apologize.
Oh, well. Well, thank you very much for being here. Let's go to this shot. I appreciate all the information on the Oak Cliff Film Festival, the Texas Theater, and Texas Film Gear, and some cool technology that's coming out for producers to use, and being able to leverage it right into a live shoot situation. You don't have audio. A live shoot situation. My name is Anthony Barocas, here for StreamTek at the Texas Production Expo. We'll be back in a minute. All right. My name is Anthony Barocas, here at the Texas Production Expo, here for StreamTek with our live 2-hour extravaganza. I have two very special guests. We've actually traded out, and we have, let's just see, you're going to scoot in a little bit.
Okay. I don't know where cameras were. I see it now.
What is that? Is that two?
Come on in.
I'll pan, there we go. I'll pan over a little bit. So we have Kellyanne from the Dallas Producers Association. And we also have Broadfield, but you're here to not just talk about the company, but specifically with regards to visitor products.
Right.
All right. You want to lead?
Sure, I can, yes. Are we live right now?
Yes.
Okay. Can you first tell us what is Visor? I don't want to start a conversation assuming that anyone watching.
No,
knows
that's
what
fine.
Visor is.
So it's VisRT, which actually stands
See,
for.
I'm already messing it up.
Yeah, it stands for visualization in real time.
Okay.
So they've been around for a very long time. You're not the only one that pronounces it Visert.
Okay, good.
So it's okay. But it's VisRT. They've been around for a very long time. About 3 years ago, they acquired NewTek. Everybody knows NewTek from the TriCaster world.
Yep.
So that is really, they brought that into their family of switchers. So VisRT, they do virtual sets. They do if you watch sports games and you see the players get graphics all around them pointing out where they're going. That's a lot of what VisRT comes from, and they've just added the TriCaster family and the Replay family to their family when they acquired NewTek. So that's who they are.
Fantastic.
Yep.
What's the benefit that you're getting out of today being here? What kind of people are you meeting? Is it the crowd you need to be in front of?
Yeah, so we're a distributor. So we actually work with folks like Texas Film Gear, TM Television, some of the folks that are here, and we supply them a lot of their gear. We work very well with VisRT, NewTek, and we're showing several different products here. But the big thing we're showing and we're really talking about is VisRT and the TriCaster line. And what we're doing is really neat. We're showing kind of the high end and the low end. So we've got the TriCaster Vision, which is their brand new flagship product here.
Okay.
But we're also showing the new TriCaster Mini S. And this is the first time you can run TriCaster software on your own computer. So if you've got a computer that can run, has the basic minimum specs, Windows machine with an NVIDIA card, you can now have a TriCaster. And we're showing that both the ultimate high end and the ultimate low end on the TriCaster family for folks. So it's been really good. These are our customers. I mean, these are the folks that are buying these things. We're talking producers, we're talking House of Worship here, we're talking to city government, a lot of folks that come up here and look at these products.
Fantastic. So you said from the high end to the low end, or rather, not the high end to the low end, but rather the different needs based on what the customer is. Everyone needs the range, or there's always the range of people who need all the bells and whistles and who need less of the bells and whistles.
So if you need just got 4 cameras, we've got that solution. If you've got 44 sources, we've got that solution. Everybody needs 44 sources. And that's been kind of the thing too that's kind of neat, is having both ends side by side, trying to kind of be able to explain the differences between, well, why would I want this? Why would I want a 2-stripe panel? Why do I need all these buttons? I'm like, well, if you're just producing with 4 cameras, you never will. But if you're producing something where, I'm producing this event, but I'm also, if we were trying to drive monitors behind me, then I'd be doing 2 shows, because not only am I producing the show that's going out to the stream, but I'm producing the content that's on behind us. That's when you need the bigger systems that have multiple, the 2-stripe panel, because now I can control 2 shows from the same unit.
Perfect.
And I know the Mini has been popular for a lot of smaller productions for years. But, it's always been that the Mini has been, okay, here's your computer. And then you need to add, you have to build it out. It's sort of like, okay, computer, keyboard, monitor, second monitor, And it's very interesting for me as a live producer and a streaming person to see the TriCaster S, like you said, on a laptop.
Right.
And especially if you're dealing with NDI, which is kind of what I'm doing here as well, is that you have a laptop to throw down, which includes the keyboard. You basically put that down, open it up, you're in TriCaster. Yeah, and that speeds up small productions exponentially.
And the thing that's funny is I did did another show about 3 months ago, and I was kind of walking around, I was chuckling because I saw folks, 3 laptops all running, either OBS or vMix. And when I started talking to them, they're using it because each one of those is doing a different part of the production. The TriCaster, what really is good about the TriCaster is all of it's done there. You're doing the live production, you're doing the streaming, you're doing the recording. You can drive all this. So I'm like, one box does what these 3 boxes are doing. So the Mini S is still a TriCaster. And now, yes, you're putting it on a laptop, you're putting it on your own machine that's doing things. You've got that. And the other thing that I haven't talked about yet is the TriCaster Vision. One of the things that makes it really neat is this is also the first time that the TriCaster is running off of common off-the-shelf hardware. So previously, TriCasters were a dedicated
you bought the hardware.
They were having custom built. Now what they're doing is they're going out there buying it's an HP workstation. It's a HP workstation that has a lot of power. It's got the TriCaster software and it's got some extra tweaks to make it work really well. but it's a common off-the-shelf hardware, which means you're able to take advantage of a really high-end platform at a fraction of the price because they're building so many of these, that you're able to get a really key performing box at a more affordable price. And you've not seen anything. I mean, the Vision has got so much potential. You're seeing advantages of the graphics cards bringing. You've got AI gaze correction. So that's using NVIDIA's technology to make sure that if you're looking, if I'm doing this interview right now and I'm looking at notes, my eyes are going to be down here. But the AI gaze correction will bring those eyes center. So you always look at, they're also using an AI keyer, which means I don't need a green screen anymore. It's using AI to figure out who's moving and pull the key from that. So lots of technology coming from a very powerful box.
And I will admit, I have a client that I'm doing production for. They're using an older TriCaster Mini, and I told them, I says, listen, the TriCaster, the Mini doesn't do zoom. And that's big now, is this Zoom integration, especially with the talk show support ending, is that Zoom integration. And it's like, well, as I delved into this, I was like, oh, wait, so we can use a TriCaster S. It's like this in-between area. I'm not getting the super big one. I'm just doing a couple things. I can use the TriCaster S to integrate Zoom, bring in 3 panelists, do this live switch, video playback, titles, graphics, all make a polished show, and then RTMP into the webcast from the one device where they currently have a system that I just worked this last week. The system is 12 screens and 7 computers. And it's like, well, listen, we can do half of that here. So the integration is simplifying things, because also in terms of like taking every little thing, and this is going to be pinned over here, and this is going to be moved over there, and to make it a process where it's repeatable, I can open the show and the connections are already there. It makes it more bulletproof, as opposed to having to do all these separate devices, all these separate laptops, all this separate pinning and audio routing and da-da-da. There's always errors that occur when you didn't hit that one item in the checklist or you forgot something. Whereas if it's integrated and it's built in, you make your shows more reliable.
Well, and the other thing too is we're talking about churches. We're talking about or even city government. A lot of those are what I call the volunteer army. The person operating it today may not be the person next week. So if you can do something where, first off, it is one box and it's got a preset, and maybe it's a couple different presets. So I have a program for council chamber meeting, then I have a one for small different meetings. So I know, okay, this is a 4 camera, this is an 8 camera, this has got Zoom. Somebody can walk in and say, oh, we're doing a Zoom meeting this week. Choose that preset, load up that project, and everything's already all set. So now it becomes easier for that person that maybe has never touched it or maybe hasn't touched it for 3 weeks to say, oh yeah, everything's hooked up the way it should be, and I'm not having to jump to this box or that one.
Right. I have a question from the viewing audience. It's live. Is it Windows only?
It is Windows only, yes.
And it's a very relevant question, because people today are always like, well, I'm a Mac person, and I want to use a Mac. Different tools. It's like I have iPhones and Android. I have Macs and I have PCs. Certain software runs great on a Mac. Okay, if that's what I need to use to run this product, that's what I'm going to use. And if this runs on a PC, and the client we're doing the show for, it's type specified. It's like, can we use vMix? They're like, no. It needs to be this tool. So it's like, okay, if I need to use that tool, I'm going to use that tool. So let me thank you. We're going to keep moving along. Thanks for the information about the Blizzard and about the TriCaster. We are here live at the Texas Production Expo, produced by the Dallas Producers Association. My name is Anthony Barogas. Wait, I can hit this title. And I am here for StreamTek, and we'll be back to you in a moment. All right.
We're in wardrobe right now.
We're here live, and I'm going to stall for a couple of seconds while our guests are setting back up. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am here. I am the host of the StreamTek channel, and if you don't watch Stream Technology, it is live on YouTube. You can see us at Stream Technology. If you want to find out more about that, you can also go to streamtek.us. The Texas Production Expo is produced by the Dallas Producers Association. You can find out about them at dallasproducers.org. So, continuing back to our show, I am here with the TX MPA, Fred Poston. Tell us exactly the Texas, for those who don't know, the Texas Motion Picture Association.
Media Production Alliance.
Oh my goodness.
It's changed names over the years.
I've used both interchangeably in the last couple of weeks.
I was right at one point.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Well, it's right a few years ago. However, when the gaming became part of the incentive programs here in the state, it kind of necessitated a change in the naming, so they transitioned over to media. And then, of course, as our landscape is, as an industry has changed, it was kind of fortuitous because, of course, everything now is technically different types of media. They're all related.
Exactly, and there are gaming organizations here in Texas as well, gaming companies, and gaming is not small. Gaming is big business. You know, you can have a studio doing filmmaking, but you can have a studio just making games. And in terms of revenue, they're on par with each other. You know, it's like, so people understand. I think at this point,
bigger. The thing with that is that they are more consistent. You know, their storytelling, if you will, are very long cycles compared to some of the other types of products. I mean, clearly television, like in series productions, can be a very long, multi-year thing, but theirs is definitely a multi-year type projects.
Well, I just heard Final Fantasy, the next Final Fantasy game is coming out, and I'm like, how long has that even been a title, you know? It's, you know...
like as a franchise, you mean?
Yeah, as a franchise. I'm like, which is longer, Simpsons or...
Yeah, right?
So, tell us about, you know, your presence here at the Expo. Like, who do you find, you know, resonates with the TX MPA here at the Expo?
Well, we had a panel earlier that I was a participant in, and there was literally standing room only. There were people sitting on the floor too, and nobody left till the very end. So that kind of tells you that we have something that people want to hear about. TX MPA is a nonprofit that has been an ag advocacy group since the 2000s. No coincidence that we've been around since Film Incentives has been a part of the landscape here in Texas. We are leading that conversation as it relates to what's happening in legislature and what, you know, making sure this is a priority that we have incentive programs still here in Texas.
So would you say that you're responsible for the big bill that's, you know...
I would like to take credit for it, but that has been, this was made this legislative session in Texas unique compared to the last, you know, since the 2000s, since they've been doing this.
Yeah.
Where historically it would be the industry kind of coming up and trying to, you know, make the priorities. We have the highest levels of our government that have said, you know what, we see the value of this.
Finally.
And we need to be a part of this because, I mean, one, we're about to be the largest, most populated state in the country. And we have a whole entire generation, for those of us who are all, you know, not us, I'm the 1900s, all the ones in the 2000s, they've had media in their hands their entire lives. Yes. They understand it, and this future of this and how people consume it is not going away. So it's an essential thing for Texas and Texans to be a part of it. The leadership has recognized that, and so they've made the bills that are tailored around trying to establish and grow an actual industry in the state.
And, you know, we hear a lot about, you know, Hollywood being in trouble, and we know that there's heavy competition for production. You know, you look at the back of so many Marvel films, and it says "Made in Georgia" with the little peach and everything. And Georgia's been huge. Canada has been huge, you know, for years. And now it's like with this incentive program, it's like Texas is taking a huge leap forward in terms of saying, you know, hey, come film here, right?
Yeah, no, it's significant. I mean, it's funny, you know, Canada started this whole party, right? They're the ones that came up with having these incentives and started pulling productions away. Well, then it got it to where people realized you could be in other places to do things. And at the end of the day, I mean, this content that's being produced is about making money and selling content. And so people are trying to, you know, control their costs. So these incentives play into that. Now we have, you know, somebody where you can do it anywhere. It's an opportunity. And the timing is now. I mean, the landscape has changed with how content is produced and how people consume the content. And so we're at a point where we got to be ready for the future. And if, a state, like I said, if it's going to be the most populated state in this country, I mean, if we're not telling our story, somebody else will. So I don't know how everybody feels about that here, but I know I personally feel like that's kind of an important thing to make sure that your voices are the ones telling these stories and, having a part in it.
I think one of the key parts of the incentive is that this new incentive is not just for big, major, multi-million dollar things. It really does spread things out a little bit so that a small studio or a smaller production can really take advantage of these things now.
There's a couple of ways to look at that. One is, at the end of the day, this whole thing, having taxpayer dollars, to be being a part of this, it's an economic development play. Fortunately, this program in Texas, through its history, has always had an over 4 times return on investment, which is a major, big deal, especially in a fiscally conservative state.
Yeah.
Saying that when any money they're putting in, they're getting over $4 back on everything they're putting in. It's creating jobs. So it's economic development, it's workforce development. That's what this whole conversation is about. And with that enables us to be able to do more with it.
I think also, like you says, it's coming back because it's money from Texans that's just being refunneled back into Texas and Texans, but with the incentive that it's bringing other money in with it.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, so so first of all, if you qualify for the program, only this money you spend on Texans and Texas things are the only thing that you get credit for to get the incentive money back. So that's part about the Texas program that's been so valuable through the years. But yes, I mean, it's bringing a bunch of folks in. I mean, look at Waco, film tourism. Waco, I don't know that it's been a big destination for tourism. It's one of the most visited communities in the state. And it's all around the fact of those shows being produced there.
Right.
And that can happen for Texas. I mean, it's been a while since I've used an example, but I always like to say, can you imagine if, this kind of dates me, if Urban Cowboy was shot in New York City? That would have been kind of a crime, right? It wouldn't have been the same story. And things like that. So, I mean, it's part of our story. Texas is a huge state with lots of rich culture and history. It's the largest state that has a program in the country. We have, 269,000 square miles, I think it is, of territory to be able to use these incentive dollars. I mean, the possibilities are endless here. And we're perfectly positioned to be able to be a leader in this space. And that's why being here today is so important, because these are the kind of vendors that will help make that happen. What we're talking about in these incentives, provided it all goes the way we're expecting it to, it's going to come really fast. And we're going to have people that are professionals coming in to help make this happen.
Right, that's a really good point too, because if all of a sudden more productions are coming here, it's going to bring the workforce with it.
All right.
Because it's like, people are like, just like with Georgia, it was like people follow the money.
Yeah.
And if there's work being done there and the studio is being built there, they're going to be like, well, I need to go there to get the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, it's a self-filling cycle. So once you have the money.
Well, a lot of these students, that I've worked with a couple of universities on different programs, and looking at the students, I'm like, well, where are you going for work? And there's plenty of them that get jobs here in Texas, but a lot of them, I mean, going to Georgia, like who are your people? Because they ask, how do I get a job in this industry? I'm like, well, who do you know? There was alumni before you. Who do you know? What are they doing? You got to find your way in, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they're in Georgia. They're, of course, California, quintessential destination, or New York. But they want to come home. And now we have programs. Again, think about this generation that's been consuming media all these years, and they're interested in it and know how to tell it in a different way. It's like they all are going to school for it, and they need a place to go. And we're perfectly positioned to help make sure they have jobs here in Texas.
I was just talking about this with Diane Testa of Burning Tractor, about how the incentives do bring people back into Texas in this very way that you're talking about. In a world where we have now learned how to do anything remotely, any job can be done remotely, especially so much of what we do in filmmaking. But because the incentives are geographic specific, you have to spend on Texas residents, Texas services, a job that someone could be doing in Indiana. It takes maybe a little bit of another evolution to understand, like, well, if I can stay here and do this job, why do I have to be on the ground in Dallas, in Austin, anywhere in Texas to do that same job? Well,
Yeah, there's certainly options. I mean, the idea, you have a state this large, you have, all these different opportunities to use the money here, but it's also the fact that once you start building an industry, not just the actual content, the manufacturing of content, it's about the industry being someplace. I use the example a lot, as an economic development thing, like with Toyota in San Antonio. It's not about manufacturing those trucks down there. It's about all the suppliers, the ecosystem that comes with it. And it requires all this other industry to be a part of it. And they have things that feed into them. That's the game changer. And if we have enough manufacturing or the making of producing things, all that starts to grow roots here. And once that happens, that's where the whole equation changes.
Yes.
You're on to a different reality.
All right, Fred. Well, thank you very much for filling us in on the TXMPA, the incentives and production in Texas. We're going to keep this show going.
Great.
But thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys.
And I will look forward to talking with you later.
Well, you're going to have some good stories to tell you soon.
The Texas Production Expo. It's a one-day event where we have hundreds, if not 1,000 people this year come through the doors to interact and engage with vendors from camera, lighting, production. Those of you who can't go to NAB in Vegas, those of you who don't have the opportunity to put your hand on a $30,000 production camera to test it before you purchase it, this is the place to come.
I've been coming here for probably 4 or 5 years, and really the traffic today has been incredible. It's been a knockout. A lot of people that never even heard of us before are now going to become members, and so it's been really great to be a part of the film community here in Dallas, to see all the excitement and the buzz.
As a first-time attendee, it's been amazing. We had a lot of traffic, a lot of interest as well, so it's been great for our business to let people know that we're here.
Really gives us a chance to kind of meet up with our old clients if we haven't seen them in a while, but also to sort of greet the new faces. And so it lets us kind of meet those people for the first time and really introduce them to our services and what we do and who we are.
As social media influencers, when we saw the interview on TV, my sisters and I were interested in it.
And while we were here, we were able to see so many practical applications, like instantly.
We're showcasing a lot of equipment that you could go and shoot with tomorrow. Really about hands-on, getting your hands on the equipment, learning about the equipment while you're here, and then maybe figuring it out if that's something you want to use on your next production.
I'm really excited about the AI and creativity seminar to see how we can use AI both in production and help our clients make better products all around.
Being here has been amazing.
It just gets bigger every year.
It's the best it's ever been, and it's an amazing event.
Really works.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us. The interesting thing is with this setup, it doesn't give me a list of how many people are live, so I'll have to go back and look. I'm used to actually streaming a different way when I do shows from my studio, and it actually tells me, it aggregates across 5 different networks, and it tells me how many viewers there are, and that's really handy. So, well, thank you all for being here. My name is Anthony Barocas. Oh, you already did that. Sorry, I'm used to doing it on my own. I'm the host of StreamTek, and if you haven't watched it, it's the StreamTek channel on YouTube, because we're also broadcasting to the DPA channel, DPA Facebook, and you can find us at Stream Technology on YouTube. If you want to find out more information about the show itself, you can find that at StreamTek.us. This event is put on by the Dallas Producers Association, and you can find out more about them at dallasproducers.org. With me now, I have Troy. How do you say it? Braghini? Braghini.
It's like Lamborghini, just take the lamb off.
We have Troy Braghini, and if you're into live streaming, you should have heard about LiveView. Because LiveView is, it has been, I think, a standard for years in terms of like broadcast quality, reliable, redundant live streaming solutions.
And so what I like to tell people is it's beyond live streaming. Anytime you're trying to get video feed live or not from one place to another, that's where live view comes into play. Our devices, our bread and butter, our original foundings are in cellular bonded video encoders. That means we're taking multiple cellular modems, combining them together, all that power, all that bandwidth to create one pipeline for your video feed to go through. So a lot more reliable than relying on a single hotspot. It's a lot cheaper than trying to, get venue internet. You go to, a big show like NAB, and you try to do a video drop there, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's exorbitant. And in comparison, the data charges, cellular data with live view, it's pennies, it's dollars in comparison.
Right. And for those who don't know, like bonding is the way that you can take one video feed and you spread it across, like you're a dealer at a blackjack game, tick, 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 and you're poker, and you're sending out the cards, and the data goes across different paths, and then it has to arrive at a destination. That's the bonding, debonding. It puts it back in order. But I know live view is more than that.
Yeah.
It's a bi-directional communication, and one of the key things that, there's lots of things that do bonding. Like, I have a YOLO box and it does bonding, but it doesn't talk back to the encoder and say, I'm having trouble, can you lower the data rate?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different differences between us and other so-called bonding devices. We were the first ones to do it. We were actually doing it back in the 2G cellular days. So just off of experience alone, if we were having success with 2G cellular, imagine what we're doing now with 4G and 5G.
Right.
But yeah, so what you're talking specifically about is LRT. It's Live View Reliable Transport. And that's the specific codec that we use to communicate either with a cloud server or a physical decode server that enables, as you said, a lot more to happen than what one of our competitors would be able to do. It provides a layer of reliability and stability that is unmatched. And this is actually a great segue into one of our new product offerings that we introduced at NAB that I want to share with the audience today. And that's LiveView IQ. LiveView IQ is our next iteration, our next evolution of the LRT technology. The way our devices have traditionally worked, I've got here with me the LU800, our flagship device. Traditionally, it's shipped with a set number of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile SIM cards. That's great. There's 8 total. We can also bond a couple of other services. But what happens when you get into a situation where you've got congestion? We've got a lot of people floating around in this trade show floor today. A lot of cell phones. You're creating a lot of noise. But what happens when you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no, T-Mobile doesn't have signal? A situation like that. Well, in the past, it's just resulted in, you not having a modem that works. The AT&T modems aren't working or the T-Mobile modems aren't working. And we've always been very successful in overcoming that because we've got the redundancy we've built in, but we want to take that a step further. We want to provide more for our customers. And that's where LiveView IQ steps in. We're essentially transitioning the LU800s to start off with to an eSIM platform. With the eSIMs combined with a machine learning on the unit and AI in the cloud, we're going to be able to reassign the carriers on the SIM cards on the fly, no added latency.
Interesting.
So you run into one of those scenarios where you don't have the signal that you want. AT&T is not providing you because of congestion. T-Mobile is not providing you because you're out in the middle of nowhere, or whatever the scenario might be. We're going to be able to, again, on the fly, no added latency, change the carrier assignment to get your bitrate potential back up to the maximum potential for each area you're in. There's no user intervention required. Since it's an AI system, it does it automatically and it does it continuously during your live stream.
That is very interesting because you know, I have been at events where it's like, you know, T-Mobile just may be dead here. I'm in a dead zone. And it's like, well, if T-Mobile was half of my deployment, I'm now cut in half. Yeah. So the ability to have the device sit there and say, well, if AT&T's got good signal here, well, if I just use 2 AT&Ts, that would definitely help the bottom line, so to speak. Exactly. So I think that is going to help a lot of people in terms of, you know, making their live streams more reliable, you know, wherever they might be. And then, like you said, you can bring in other things. So if you're in a really, really remote area, you know, you've got Starlink, you've got other connectivity that you can then put into this box.
The LU800 specifically is set up with 2 Ethernet ports on the side. It also has a Wi-Fi antenna built in. So all in, we have the potential for 11 IP signals all being bonded together, put together to create that single pipeline for your video feed to go through.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you very much for showing to us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
And telling us to giving us a little bit more IQ, raising our IQ, I should say.
There you go.
My name is Anthony Barocas. I am here at the Texas Production Expo. We are live and we are going to continue. We've got a little bit more before we wrap up at this show, but I'm going to... What video should I play today? Oh, let's play this one.
The connective tissue is storytelling. Whether it's dance, music, visual art, poetry, spoken word, all of these things. And we're able to tell stories in all these different mediums.
Looking forward to year 10. I am waiting for you. It's going to be lit.
So my wife and I were at a film festival. I kept thinking about how it is that you don't really see a lot of black cinema. And I thought about it and I said, we are trying to raise money for the foundation to provide scholarships, so wouldn't it be really good to have a black film festival? Nisha and Shalon and I met several times. We really just kind of talk about what a festival would look like.
They started meeting at a restaurant for breakfast weekly or every other week and started planning it, and I was like, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna jump in when it's really gonna happen.
He was asking questions and I was talking because I got excited about the new opportunity. Anything black means I'm all over that. And from that conversation, it just flourished. All the ideas came to quick fruition.
At the beginning, we didn't know this was a fundraiser for a scholarship foundation. But then when you could see the potential, and I think a lot of it was the team, the volunteers and the people that work with us made a difference, and it just enabled us. And then the city, after the first year, I think the city embraced us too. All of that came, so we became part of this Denton community.
So it's just an opportunity for creatives to express themselves and do it here in Denton, where it's a creatives community.
I think that's what stood out to me and just drew me in that first year was people are here to connect and just have a good time.
It was actually amazing. It's one of those things where they said it couldn't be done, so you have to go do it, right?
The feelings after we did the first one were feelings of elation. I mean, the level of excitement was crazy. You know, just the realization that you did it.
And Harry, of course, is always a person that's talking about growing. So he instantly said, well, man, why don't next year you get involved and try to help us curate some music? So we started out, you know, just doing some things around the square with some local acts, and it just kind of grew from there.
Frederick Nicholson reached out to me because they wanted to bring other art forms to the festival, and he knew that I did spoken word, so we thought that it would be a great idea to try to incorporate spoken word slam to the festival and see what the response would be from the people.
Yeah, 2017. That was a big year because we've also tried to, you know, we're not industry people, so trying to break in and get people here from the industry. And I will shout out to M. Legend Brown, local filmmaker, that really helped us. He knew Tommy Ford. And Tommy had a film that was coming out. Conflict, I think was the name of it. So we showed the film, but Tommy also came here. He did an acting class, master class for us. And it was just really exciting to have him here.
And so we had a screening of the film, the documentary, I Am Not Your Negro. And that was one of the proudest moments because we had approximately 470 people in 2 screenings.
We were the first screening in Texas. It had been in other, limited release, I think in New York and LA and a few other places. And the Little Old Denton Black Film Festival got that screening, and we worked really hard and we were able to get that film, and it's like my most favorite screening ever.
And one day I saw a post on social media on Facebook, and I believe it was the 3rd year of the festival, and that was the year that I Am Not Your Negro was the opening night film. And I've been to all sorts of different festivals and seen all sorts of different films, and I was absolutely blown away by that film. They had music, they had art, there was culture, which is something that a lot of festivals are lacking.
All right. We are back live here at the Texas Production Expo. My name is Anthony Barocas here from StreamTek. We have a very special guest, Austin, from the Dallas Film Commission. So thank you very much for being here, Austin. I'm going to let Kellyanne run this one.
Sure, absolutely. Austin Flores, Dallas Film Commission, everyone. What is the importance of Dallas Film Commission being here today in this room at Texas Production Expo?
So, there's been a lot of really good conversations, but the one thing that I really think that is just so important is just meeting the community. Like getting out there and actually just seeing who's out in the field, working their butts off every single day.
Oh no, we never put the, pretend you didn't see any of that.
Yeah, don't look at this. Okay. Being able to meet with crew members, being able to just meet with just a bunch of community partners that I've been so fortunate to develop a relationship with over the last year, but also there's a lot of really cool gear behind me. I'm messing with the camera. A lot of cool gear behind me and all that jazz. That is just really awesome to just have the opportunity to go and literally just put a finger on it, to touch it, to really get actual time with something that you wouldn't be able to touch or see easily. So it's a really wonderful event, and it's just so cool to just see the community. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Very hands-on, very community building.
Yes.
For Dallas Film Commission, have you found that in the conversations that you're having today, is everyone familiar with the Film Commission?
Sometimes. Most of them are aware of what we do, but they don't get the full mission of what we do. So to just spill it out there on the internet.
Please.
So we are a workforce development branch, but we're also a tourism branch. We're under Visit Dallas, so that's what the paycheck says. But what we do is we help bring in high-profile productions to the area with scouts, fans, you name it, but then also help find ways for our local crew to be trained, to find opportunities to work, while also promoting the region. Dallas is a major city. There's 8 million people in the Metroplex, and Dallas has a majority of them, especially Dallas County. So our goal is to showcase Dallas in its best light, to show Dallas as a filming destination, especially with the fact that, for example, there's an event happening here today, this event, and there's a lot of people here walking around who work in this industry, but it is also put on by one of our most prolific groups, the Dallas Producers Association. So that alone, you don't get that in other cities. You don't get that in other parts of this country. And our goal is to really just show that Dallas is the place to be, especially with the new incentives that will be coming soon. There's just a lot of really good energy, and our goal is to just show Hollywood, London, everyone, anywhere who wants to listen to us, that Dallas is it. You should film in Dallas.
Absolutely.
Big mission.
Absolutely, because I think people even within our industry may not realize that we really do have the potential to be LA, to be Atlanta, to be British Columbia.
We can be them, and we can be them better because of the fact that our history here has been so long. Credit to where Atlanta is. Georgia deserves credit for where Georgia is, right?
Sure, they all should.
Yeah, they all should.
They've built what they have.
But Georgia,
we can too.
Yes, but Georgia is 20 years old, 20-something years old. in terms of filming, the old state. Don't get in the comments about it. But Dallas has been doing film since the 70s. Texas has been doing film since the 19-teens down in San Antonio with silent films. Texas and filming kind of go hand in hand, and I think Dallas, especially just for what we have done, especially with just our history of like, obviously, Walker, Texas Rangers, Dallas to Show, RoboCop, everyone knows RoboCop.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things that have happened here, that have filmed here, that are so important, that I think show that, hey, we've been doing it, and we've been doing it great for the last however many years, and we're going to continue to do it. And our goal is to help elevate that and show that you could do it here. You don't need to do it anywhere else. You can do it here, right here in Dallas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything that the Dallas Film Commission needs of this community? What do you need people to? What's the favor that we can pay back to Dallas Film Commission?
So I have two asks. So if you are a working crew member, please list yourself in our directory. It is free. It's free. FREE free. Underline whatever you want to say. It's free. If you're working, please list yourself. People ask for PAs, producers, grips, whatever.
Yeah.
We pull it from that resource, that directory resource. On the flip side, if you are fortunate to own private property and you are film friendly, let us know. We are always on the lookout for locations. Obviously, your locations would have like a rental fee. You will get paid. Don't worry, you'll get paid. But we are always on the lookout for locations. So if you know of a place that's film friendly, or if you own something that you're like, yeah, I'll have a circus in here, let us know. We are more than willing to come out, chat with you, just figure out like what that can be. So there's a lot of really good opportunities, and I just want to like, and the last thing, like, just let people know that we exist. We're here. We're a free resource. There's 11 of us in this state, so please, like, utilize us. If you have a project in Fort Worth, you utilize the Fort Worth Film Commission. If you're down in Austin, San Antonio, if you're out in Midland, Odessa, call the Texas or El Paso or Amarillo even. There's so many film commissions that at the end of the day, we want to help you guys, the community, make your stuff happen.
Fantastic. How do people find that film directory or how rather do they get themselves on the directory?
Yes, so you go to filmdallas.org. That's our little website. I was going to say tagline, filmdallas.org.
Filmdallas.org.
There's a tab on the top right that says crew directory. Go there, go through the little steps. It should be super easy. If you have any questions, please reach out to me directly. I am here to help. And just because of the fact that we want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, and we don't want people to feel like, oh, I kind of got caught up and then I didn't do it. Like, let us know. Like, we can help you through it. We're technical whizzes too at the end of the day.
Good. Austin Flores, Dallas Film Commission.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
And I will admit, I am actually, if you go to that Texas Film Commission, you can find Frisco Studios, located in Frisco, where you can rent out some studio space. But I will thank you as well. Thank you for being here. And check them out online.
And I thought, oh no, the production.
Alrighty. We're back here at the Texas Production Expo. My name is Anthony Barocas here for StreamTek. And we have we're back with streaming technology now. So I have with me Fred Vint from Telestream.
Yes.
And Telestream, for many people who are in the streaming industry, has been making one of the, I don't know, maybe one of the earliest multi-camera live switching software production platforms. And for those people who are on a Mac, is on a Mac. You know, because we had VizRT, TriCaster X, Windows only.
Yep.
But Telestream, not Windows only.
No, we're very flexible in that space. So we offer Mac installers and we offer PC installers.
So
for Wirecast.
For Wirecast. We should really make clear this is for the product called Wirecast.
Correct.
And Wirecast, how old is Wirecast?
Woo! It's been around a while. We just released version 16 something, so that tells you it's had some longevity in the market. We continue to add features to it. It's a product that's not going away. We changed our pricing model last year a little bit to a subscription. And Telestream doesn't sell gear anymore, which was our hardware platform that we sold with it.
Right.
But you can buy that through Broadfield. We have
I saw there's like a series of different boxes depending upon how big or how small you
Correct, yep. The Liberty X platform that they developed. And so we're kind of back in the hardware game, but you don't get it from us. So, but yes.
So, excuse me. In terms of live stream, actually, we have a live audience. So, if anybody's watching and you can tell us, go do the research. When did version 1 of Wirecast come out?
That's right. Well,
that'll be interesting. I'd love to actually have the date.
If somebody calls in with it, if somebody finds it, we'll give them a year's subscription to Wirecast.
Oh, wow.
Wirecast. So one Wirecast studio is up for
one Wirecast
too.
studio. Hey, I actually get a giveaway for the show. This is
great.
Why not?
That's a great deal. That is a really great
going
deal.
off the cuff here. So.
Oh, right. So yeah, this is the channel. In terms of Wirecast now, if you don't know, Wirecast has a different sort of layout. People who come to the TriCaster come from a broadcast background. You got your A bus, your B bus, your MEs, your little dial. Wirecast has a different workflow.
A little bit, yes. You can still do graphics in it.
Yeah.
And you have your DVRs. I almost said VTRs. That dates myself a little bit. But yeah, so it's not a traditional switcher. So I'm in sales, so I like to say Wirecast is so easy a sales guy can do it, right? So the layouts are a little different, but you still get a professional signal. We can still stream to Facebook and all the other locations with that, and it's still pretty popular.
Well, it's been around for many years, so it's very refined, and it offers like additional capabilities. Like you've got an app for devices. So if you have a phone and you wanted to throw in one more camera,
Wirecast Go is what it's called.
Yeah, you could just like load that app on the thing, and Wirecast will see it, be able to bring it in, and it really simplifies and makes very creative productions possible without getting you down into like, oh, well, you got to learn networking and you got to do all this other stuff. The app makes it easy. So to speak.
We can stream 4K. Right, 3G, we can bring in NDI signals as well, so we don't really care where the source is coming from. You can onboard it. You've got, I'm not going to say unlimited NDI support, but you have 4 hardware-based spigots and usually most of the hardware systems that are out there. But if you have multiple NDI sources, you can plug those in as well and use them.
Right, and then like you says, it's available software only.
Correct.
As well. So if somebody wants to build a 16 input mega whatever, with all these SDI channels, they could do that if that's what they need.
Kind of, sort of. The preview panel's a little limited. I'm not the Wirecast expert, I will be sure. I mean, I can make things work, but to talk a little bit about Wirecast, so we've got a full-time support person back on staff now, so if there are any issues, we're still working through some cases, but we do have a dedicated support person for that. So hopefully the masses will, if they didn't know, they'll appreciate that. So we're getting back to our original heritage with Wirecast with some of the traditional support.
And then let's also clarify that the support is U.S. based.
It's U.S. based, East Coast time.
Right. So, because there's been
email support only also. So
there's been a huge influx of all kinds of like all-in-one production devices, but getting corporate support or tech support for those things, especially if the company is based in China, they're literally the opposite cycle. So it's sort of like, well, I'm having a problem at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, but they're asleep.
Right.
You know, so there's an advantage to having somebody tech support in the same time zones as you when you're doing stuff during the day. And I'm sleeping at night while they're awake. So,
yeah. So we had some changes with the Wirecast model over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get it back to a little bit of a more normal state.
Right.
If I may, wordsmithing probably could apply there a little bit, but we are knocking down the caseload. We're aware of some of the things out there that we're addressing.
So, and where do you see, like, you know, like you mentioned, you know, you're sort of back in the hardware business. You know, what else is coming out?
Well, we worked with Broadfield to qualify the Liberty X with Wirecast, right? So they have an HDMI option. You've got the SDI options as well. Either of those work with all the additional NDI cameras, right? So it got to a point with us with maintaining the gear, building them ourselves. There's so much commodity hardware out there that works just as well. It was a lot easier, and Broadfield's been a great partner to get those built and shipped out and working with everybody. So.
Right, and I think it also speaks to strengths, you know, because you guys have been the software solution.
Right.
Cross-platform for so many years that you're not a hardware company, you know, and it's different. You know, it's like that's a whole other arm to like configure, test, and do all this stuff. And it's like, listen, you know, we'll let somebody that does hardware do the hardware, and that lets you focus on the software.
Correct. Yep.
So, and I think that's going to like really, you know, benefit the solution and benefit the end users moving forward.
Right. Agree.
All right.
Nicely summed up.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
No, you nailed it. So Telestream Wirecast has been a staple for a long time. We also have enterprise class transcoding solutions and test and measurement as well. So if somebody if they're ready to graduate from a Wirecast or another similar product to a big boy system, we have the test and measurement, we have the timing gear that can help them take that next step and grow their business.
Definitely. So. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah,
I appreciate you being on the show.
Absolutely.
And taking the time.
Yep.
My name is Anthony Barocas. I am here for StreamTek at the Texas Production Expo here live in Grapevine, and we'll be back after this.
The Texas Production Expo. It's a one-day event where we have hundreds, if not 1,000 people this year come through the doors to interact and engage with vendors from camera, lighting, production. Those of you who can't go to NAB in Vegas, those of you who don't have the opportunity to put your hand on a $30,000 production camera to test it before you purchase it, this is the place to come.
I've been coming here for probably 4 or 5 years, and really the traffic today has been incredible. It's been a knockout. A lot of people that never even heard of us before are now going to become members, and so it's been really great to be a part of the film community here in Dallas, to see all the excitement and the buzz.
As a first-time attendee, it's been amazing. We had a lot of traffic, a lot of interest as well, so it's been great for our business to let people know that we're here.
Really gives us a chance to kind of meet up with our old clients if we haven't seen them in a while, but also to sort of greet the new faces. And so it lets us kind of meet those people for the first time and really introduce them to our services and what we do and who we are.
As social media influencers, when we saw the interview on TV, my sisters and I were interested in it.
And while we were here, we were able to see so many practical applications, like instantly.
We're showcasing a lot of equipment that you could go and shoot with tomorrow. Really about hands-on, getting your hands on the equipment, learning about the equipment while you're here, and then maybe figuring it out if that's something you want to use on your next production.
I'm really excited about the AI and creativity seminar to see how we can use AI both in production and help our clients make better products all around.
Being here has been amazing.
It just gets bigger every year.
It's the best it's ever been, and it's an amazing event.
Cool. I turn this one off. Alrighty, thank you very much for being here. We had 3 answers come in. I edit project. Actually, I think that I edit projects said June 2nd, 2002. Kate Graham said May 5th, 2004 for Mac. And Bowles Promo TV said October 2005 release Wirecast for both Mac and Windows. So we got 3 different answers. I actually don't know what the right answer is. And during the break, he went back to his booth because the booths are hopping here. So I'm going to have to check with him and get this information. So if you're viewing, do me a favor, go to the StreamTek TV, StreamTek.us site, use the comments tab, and comment me so that I can get your email so that we can actually hook you up. We have those 3 entries. Email me those 3 entries through the contact tab on the StreamTek. I'm going to put that up again, StreamTek.us website. And then that way I can get your email, and whichever answer is closest, we're going to do it like a game show. Whichever answer is closest,
without going over,
I don't know, is going to get the license. We will make that happen. You know, I don't want you to think that I forgot and it was just something. I'm going to hold him to it and make sure that he gets that to you. So I want to thank everyone who has watched the show, who has been with us through this hour and 20 minutes here at the Dallas I'm so torn up at this point.
Texas.
Dallas Producers Association, Texas Production Expo here in Grapevine, Texas. My name is Anthony Barogas. I am the Chief Gearhead at StreamTek, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I will put us on this camera and give us to the closing title. So thanks for watching.